Thanks to the grace of heaven, the masters, grand predecessors, the transmitters, and everyone here for this opportunity to talk about or speak about Bodhidharma. So, what Bodhidharma has to do with Tao? So that's very important. So we're going to get an idea of who it is and why it's important to us. Bodhidharma, or he's another translation is enlightenment dharma. Bodhi means enlightenment, translation. You will see a whole bunch of pictures. He's usually described as a dark-skinned person with a lot of beard, or some people say has a white beard, like covering all the way down to his the lower part of his body, and he has big earlobes too. That's another description that you can see him, and he has a big bulgy eyes, like staring, like big eyes. So those are common descriptions that you can see in a lot of the statues, and a lot of the writings too. So these are the few ones I found online. So let's start. So who is Bodhidharma? He's the first Zen or Chan patriarch of China. Zen means to meditate through the scriptures to reach enlightenment. So what's the importance of first patriarch? It's the golden thread. This is very important. We all has the mandate that comes from the golden thread. So the lineage of Tao to the golden thread. It's a continuation of passing of the transmission to mind, transmission through a person or outside the scriptures or sutras. This is mandate for the Tao. Okay, lineage of Tao. What is the lineage of Tao? Well, it's a mandate that starts from the first patriarch. You're going to see who's the first patriarch later on. So all the way from first patriarch, that they have this mandate or a job to do that to help the human beings. So they have to teach the next person to carry on to the next person. So this is what has come to us. So everyone that he received Tao has the same mandate, that the primary, let me be ahead. So sorry. Okay, so let's go understand what's the golden thread. Now we're not going to spend the whole day explaining the golden thread. It's a very long list. So we're going to go in a short introduction of not introduction, but connecting the golden thread all the way to where it came from. So we start from every Tao member, that every one of us here that we received Tao, we have introduced and the guarantors. They had to have the Tao members as well. So those, because of them, we received Tao. So, and from the introducers and guarantors, we need to have a team transmitter. We are lucky because we have 7 transmitters in 6 or 7. I thought we had 7. 6. We have 6 transmitters in our temple that we can receive Tao. So, and also we have a whole bunch of transmitters in Taiwan. In one of the reference, it was a transmitter Cui. I wasn't sure how he connects to in there for all the transmitters. Yeah.
Because he's the senior. I mean, he's kind of like, he represented our predecessor after the predecessor passed away.
Mm-hmm.
He was the most, you can say most senior, so he was like representative.
Oh, so it was, okay.
And then so all the transmitters here would be under Cui.
Okay, maybe that's why. So okay, so the transmitter Cui, then you got the predecessor, the grand predecessors, and then you have the 18 matriarch. That's incarnation of Bodhisattva, moonlight wisdom. The 18 patriarch, it's the reincarnation of the Jigong Buddha, a holy teacher. Then you have the 17 patriarch Maitreya. This is where the white arrow starts, right? 17 patriarch. Now we're going to skip the 17 all the way to 6th patriarch. The 6th patriarch is very important for us to know as well. So 6th patriarch is Huineng. He's the last Zen patriarch that received the transmission. From that point on, the next person does not have to be a Buddhist monk to receive the transmission of Tao. So Huineng had the mandate from the 5th patriarch to pass on the next phase of the Tao to just someone else outside the Buddhism. I would say religion, but the monk. Anyway, so you got 6th patriarch, Huineng. So he had to introduced by Huineng to transmit the patriarch to someone outside Buddhism and the end of tradition. Okay, so during the position of the first all the way to the first patriarch in the other side, the western side, they usually pass a bow and a rope and sutra, I think, a scripture to the next patriarch. But Huineng was the last person that had the bow and the rope on. And this is very important, the Diamond Sutra. So the way that Huineng got enlightenment is because he heard the Diamond Sutra. Once he heard the Diamond Sutra, he got something click on him. It's like, But if you haven't read the Diamond Sutra, it's not easy to understand. I read a couple of times. I still like page chapter 2. I had to think about it. I was like, what's all this mean? But it's a very tricky. So, but Huineng is very important also because he wrote the Platform Sutra. If you don't know what the Platform Sutra, that's very important. We're supposed to be knowing and studying that, all the understanding. That's the part of the explanation of the Buddha nature. So anyway, going back to the 5th patriarch now. So we got Huineng, the 6th patriarch, that received the transmission from the 5th Zen patriarch, Hongren. So from the 5th patriarch, he received it, passed on to the 4th, the 3rd, the 2nd patriarch, Huike. So Huike is also a little important here because of the way he received the transmission from the 1st patriarch, Bodhidharma. So he also he received the Lakavatara Sutra from Bodhidharma. Lakavatara Sutra from Bodhidharma. So now you guys understand where this Tao lineage started. We are now at the 1st patriarch, who is Bodhidharma right now. Okay, he's the 1st Zen patriarch of China. Now, that's his first, but this is where the turnaround comes from. Next part. He's also the 28th Zen patriarch. So what's it, the 28th? So now we have to go down from the 28th all the way to the 1st, so we understand where this whole thing comes from. So Bodhidharma, the 1st Zen patriarch of the China, is also the 28th Zen patriarch. He went to China around 500 AD. He received the mandate from the 27th patriarch, the Prajnanatara. Now, so from the 27th patriarch, we're going to skip all the way to the 2nd patriarch, Ananda. He's a very important. All of them are very important, but Ananda is one of the famous person that we should know. He's the 2nd Zen patriarch, cousin of the Sakyamuni Buddha. He's the one that also one of the 10 disciples of Sakyamuni. He's one of those 10 people that surrounded him when he received the enlightenment. Oh, not received, but discovered the enlightenment. Around 400 BC. He has a good memory. So he was like Buddha's right hand. Right, his right hand. he was like taking care of him. He was the person that was guiding him, helping. He was the mouthpiece. I don't know what that translates into, but he basically, I guess, he will.
Well, he certainly he memorized all the Buddha's teachings.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
That's why they call it no.
No. I think he will usually when he,
You know, the amazing thing about Ananda is he did come a little bit later,
Yeah.
towards the middle of Buddha. Because remember, Buddha, he supposedly he got in line like around 32, 33. Yeah.
Ananda was only like maybe a teenager.
Yeah, Ananda was probably, not even a teenager
Not-
probably at that point.
yes, he
Yeah.
wasn't- he wasn't-
And he didn't join the Sangha until like maybe 10, 20 years later. So for the first 10 to 20 years or so during Buddha, Buddha taught a lot. I mean, but don't forget, remember, for the first 12 years, he taught only the Vinaya, the precepts.
Mhm.
So that's why a lot of in the Tripitaka, Sanzang Jing, right? Sanzang, the three baskets, Tripitaka, it means from the, don't forget, when Buddha first started teaching, yeah, his approach was mainly more therapeutic at first, or what we call Hinayana, therapeutic. Means what's therapeutic? 小乘法, 小乘车, right? 小乘, you can say it's the goat cart, yeah, the goat cart, yeah, or maybe even the deer cart, not the deer cart, okay, but not that. Because why? Because most of his early disciples were already practitioners. I mean, were already, wanting to seek the truth. So they already, you know what I'm trying to say? So, and they're not necessarily at that high level yet. So remember Buddha in the first 21 days after enlightenment, his official sutra, not the Eightfold Path. Eightfold Path is like a mini sutra, okay? He taught the Avantasaka Sutra. Remember the Avantasaka Sutra, the Hua Yan Jing. But that is so marvelous, so advanced that none of his disciples understood. Remember, he taught it for 21 days, one sutra, 21 days. That's the second longest sutra. But he didn't do all the speaking. A bulk of it was all the bodhisattvas. He invited a lot of bodhisattvas. You know that? To give. So Ananda was not present at that time.
Mhm.
So he discovered, Buddha realized that, my disciples currently are not at that level. Yeah. So this is that's why it's called expedient teaching. So he said, okay, let me go to the basics. Yeah, basics. So basics is what we call jie. And it's from the Eightfold Path to the Eightfold Path is three categories, right? Remember, there's wisdom, there is precepts, and then there is meditation or dhyana, samadhi. That's better. Okay. So he said, let's start with the basics, which is teaching. Well, this is what you should do, how you should behave. You should not kill, you should not, whatever, all that stuff. 3 poisons, the four vices of the mouth, right, or the speech,
Mhm.
and the three evils of the body, right? The senko yi, right? Those 3 things, okay? 10 things, it's 10 things, okay? So he started taking, and he taught for how long? 12 years. Just the precepts. He focused on that. Get it? Because that time, think about it. His Sangha was starting to build. So he has more people. So he get different levels of people, people who are very old, very young, very whatever. So he says, let's do the basics first. You know what I'm saying? So Ananda was still not there yet. Only came after the precept period, which is the Guangdeng, the bipolar period, which is the beginning stages of what we call Mahayana Buddhism. Get it? Because that time he had he had already a lot of disciples. So he realized, wait a minute, I can't just teach them continually the precepts. That's not enough. I mean, it's important, but it's not enough. That's the basics. So let's go to the next level. Get it? So he taught them, what are the sutras that he taught in that 8-year period? It was 8 years. That's when Ananda came in. Ananda joined. Okay? And then, so, what are the famous sutras during that period? Len Qie Jing, Lankavatara Sutra, the Surangama Sutra is Len Yan Jing, the Surangama Sutra, the Wei Mo Jie, Vimalakirti Sutras, or whatever the teaching, whole bunch. Get it? That's okay. That's why in all those sutras, Ananda, because he was there, he heard it, he memorized it, and he always started with saying, "Thus have I heard," because Buddha instructed him to, at 49 years later or whatever, whatever. You get it? Okay. And then after that, you came the Mahaprajna period and the Nirvana period. Okay, so those 5 periods.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the Diamond Sutra was the Mahaprajna period, which is he taught for 22 years. So if you add up 12, 8, 22, and I think 8, that's 50, right? 12, 8, 20, 20 plus 22, 40, 42 plus 8, 50. 49, they say, because it's some of them are overlap, some, they round it, so, right? So that's why. Okay, so Ananda, now, so, who recited the Avatamsaka Sutra? Ananda wasn't present. Supposedly, the Bodhisattvas appeared and he had a dream or something and recited to him the whole sutra, so that Ananda memorized it. And then after Buddha's parinirvana, during the first Buddhist council or first Sangha, first council, they elected Mahakasyapa as the first, you can say, patriarch of Buddhism, and Ananda. Three disciples recited. One of them recited the precepts, not Ananda. Somebody did. I forgot which disciple. I think it's Upali or something. Anyway, doesn't matter. Then the second disciple recited, no, not Maha. Is it Mahaka? Somebody else recited something. Oh, the discourses or the Abhidharma, which is the discourse, right? The discourses. And then Ananda recited all the sutras. Get it? That's during the first Buddhist council, right after Buddha's parinirvana. And that's when things got recorded.
So there's no writing before that.
There may be some recordings, but it's not formal, and it's mostly because in those days, writing wasn't that, I guess that's prevalent, because education wasn't that prevalent. So therefore, or universal. So therefore, it's mainly by words. It's easier to speak than to write, right? Okay, or read for that matter. But actually, a lot of the sutras, even though Ananda recited by memory, people do record it, but then they were scattered. I mean, they're not like standardized. Maybe that's a better term. It's only like 200 years later, at the second Buddhist council, or third, I forgot. One of the kings or emperor, Asoka, he's very famous. He was like the biggest sponsor in history of Buddhism. He built a ton of temples and libraries and stuff. He wanted standardize, just like in the West, similar to the West. Emperor Constantine said, "Hey, give me a Bible." That back then there's no such thing as a Bible. There were various different, you can say, quote unquote Bibles or scriptures taught by various church leaders throughout the Mediterranean, or the Roman Empire, and so he standardized it.
Is this the first one, the first emperor that Bodhidharma tried to?
No, Bodhidharma came much later. This is Asoka. Asoka, he's famous.
That's in India.
Yeah, this is India. He's like 200 AD. No, I'm sorry, 200 BC. 250 BC. Like 200 years roughly after Buddha's parinirvana. Get it? And very similar in the West. Like roughly 250, 300 years after Jesus' passing or crucifixion, Emperor Constantine came around and said, "Hey, I want a Bible." Back then there was no such thing as a Bible. The Bible that you're reading today you can say, can trace their origins to Emperor Constantine during the Council of Nicaea. Okay, roughly 250, 300 AD, something like that, doesn't matter. Okay, so in Buddhism, the actual recorded text didn't come until I mean, didn't get collected,集中起来, didn't get standardized, collected, and all that stuff until really Emperor King Asoka started saying, hey, I want his teachings, written down, recorded. And so a lot of them was already passed on after Ananda. Ananda was what, 300 BC, 400 BC, roughly, right? So they just keep reciting it at every council by memory. That's why there's 12 classifications of Buddha's teachings. You know that, right? There are 12 classifications. Sutra is one of them. Gatha, Gaya, Ichivitaka, Jataka. Too many. I forgot those terminologies already. Okay, so that just gives you an idea. A lot of times, the actual teachings were not recorded immediately on paper. Okay. Sorry, talk to
No, that's a good knowledge about the sutras. So from the second Zen patriarch, he got the transmission from Mahakasyapa. He is the first Zen patriarch because he got the mandate from Sakyamuni Buddha. He got enlightened by when he did the flower sermon. So he became the first patriarch. So now you can see where the lineage came from, the golden thread. You got from our Tao today, from our transmitters, right, all the way to Sakyamuni Buddha. So all this, there's a line there. And all the mandate that come from Sakyamuni, it's been carried on, passed on to one, to the next, to us now. So our job now is to pass on to the next generation or the next person that we know that needs to receive the Tao. So we had the same mandate that everyone had from many years ago. So now you know the golden thread. That's the lineage. All this information, it's online. I found in many different references to all the patriarchs, and they are out there. So if you're curious to know who all the 28 are and where all the China patriarchs are, they're all there. To be, they can be read and researched. There are links there to, if you want to know more information. So now back to Bodhidharma. This is what we're talking about. So Bodhidharma comes from this region, the south of the China, this part of India. So if you see, right, China's over here on the 27 patriarch had a mandate to propagate the Tao back to east. So he has to travel back to this side of the China. It took him 3 years to travel, I guess, to the Southeast Asia. So in every single scriptures that research I did, not scriptures, you see encounters of Bodhidharma going through. Let me see if I can list all the country he went through. Yeah. So in Indonesia, Java, Bali, Malaysia, you will see that there are statues of Bodhidharma there. He did actually go through that part of the Southeast Asia. You're going through that area.
Yeah, he traveled.
Yeah,
He traveled.
went by sea.
Right, so he tried
sea,
sea
yeah, he
and
traveled
mountains.
by
So
sea, yeah.
there is like a path that he went through went to China.
Yeah, there's recordings. Yeah,
There's
records. Yeah, there are
So
records.
they are. He actually did travel to the Southeast Asia to passing the transmission. So in every single way he taught something. So his one thing he taught was the martial arts. But it's a form of meditating as well for him. So he's from West region. It was a Persian, dark skin, big eyes, a lot of hair. He was the third son of a great king in India. So this is one passage that I'm not 100% sure that I was reading. When he was a prince in India, he saw himself in one of the dreams he has, or something, a passage that he saw, that he could either go away to be a great warrior, or become a monk. So he saw himself, image himself telling him that you can choose to become a warrior, but you will die soon, or you can choose to become a monk, and you're going to be doing great things for the world. He was skeptical of what he saw. It was probably maybe as a dream or something, but I will explain that later. What that comes from. He was a disciple of Prajanatara. Now, this the where he got the new name. This is the master. He had the mandate to pass the transmission of Tao. Okay, so that's the travel. Now you know where he traveled to. Okay, his origin name is Bodhidharma. His name was changed by Prajanatara to Bodhidharma. Also passed the Buddhist tradition of the robe and arms, the bow to symbolize the patriarch mandate. So he has the mandate at that time. He's famous for establishing Shaolin school martial arts. It's a form of exercise. That's it. Okay, so by passing symbolic robe and bow to Dharma to Huikan, and a copy of the Lava Katara Sutra. So where he died, that's a little thing that I read is very interesting. The one passage says he died while meditating in the cave. Another passage says while meditating, he saw himself dying in India. So, and he himself says, I need to go back to India. My life is going to be terminating. So he had to pass on the transmission to the next patriarch. So the next patriarch, like I said, the second patriarch, he received the mandate. But the way that he received was very interesting. At the beginning, Huikan, I keep saying his name. Huike. He was a very good person. He has a good, I would say, spiritual soul, things like that. But Bodhidharma did not believe in him or did not see him as a good candidate. So to prove himself that he was a good person, if I have the passage here, no, this is the emperor. To prove to Bodhidharma that he was a good person, during one of the passage, Huike stood outside of a snowstorm and waited for Bodhidharma to appear. Even with the snowstorm, he was freezing outside. Bodhidharma did not see him as a good candidate or to pass on the transmission to him. So the way that he did prove that that was a right person, or the way that Bodhidharma saw him as the next person, is when Huike cut his left arm. Your left arm, right? But the rope to stay cover. So he cut off his left arm. So to prove that he's sincere of to study under Bodhidharma. So that's the turning point that Bodhidharma saw him, that he cut off the arm to be a sincere person. Now there's some passage before that I did kind of skip because I was not understanding why. Huike committed two sins that should not be doing to a saint.
Well, enlightened being.
Enlightened being. One is you should not shed the blood of a saint being.
So that's one of the 5 cardinal sins.
Right.
Right. Patricide, matricide.
Disrupt order.
Yeah. That's the last one. But the one is shed the blood of a Buddha or enlightened being and killing an arhat or a nun or a monk or something like that. And then the fifth is the disrupting the Sangha.
Right.
Devadatta violated almost 3 of the 5, so that's why he ended up in Avicii's hell. Devadatta, right? You know, that's Ananda's brother, Ananda's older brother. Yeah, believe it or not.
So back to Huiken. In one of the encounters with Bodhidharma, because he got so upset, I think he gets.
Threw his beads at Bodhidharma's mouth or face or whatever.
So now he shed the blood of
Yeah.
the.
Yeah. But Bodhidharma swallowed the.
Yeah, so he realized that
It
if he
would
let
cause a
blood drop, there will be cause future calamity.
calamities in that area.
So that's scary. That's why Jesus,
Yeah,
you know,
unfortunately, the Middle
he
East.
he died on the cross and he shed a lot of blood, right? So therefore, guess what? There's no peace in the Middle East for the last 2,000 plus years.
Yes,
That's scary.
it's still
right?
going on.
Scary.
So
I have a basic question.
yes, what's the question?
Okay, as far as he originated from India, and then he was in China for a long time. Well, did he have, you say Subhuti, right, help write the scriptures?
No, not Shibuti, Ananda.
Ananda?
Mhm.
So Ananda is originally from China, or from...
No. He's the cousin of
So
Buddha.
Okay,
Sakyamuni is.
Hold on. So, is some of the original scriptures written in Sanskrit or in Chinese?
No, science.
All Sanskrit.
They're all translated into Chinese. Not all. A lot of them were translated. Almost all. No, almost all. Because what's his name? Xuanzang. The guy from Journey to the West,
Yeah.
the monk,
Dynasty.
Han Dynasty. Yeah, which was 600 AD. Roughly a little after Bodhidharma's time, a little bit, or after Huineng. You can say after the 6th patriarch's time. The emperor of that time, the Tang Dynasty emperor, was a very big sponsor or believer in Buddhism. So he said, yeah, hey, he sponsored. Hey, I need a monk to go to a Buddhist monk to go to India, collect all and translate them. And so Xuanzang went to China, left China. That's the well-known saga called Journey to the West. The Monkey King, etc. Okay, and it took him like several years, right, to travel because he traveled over part of the Silk Route through Tibet or whatever, from Afghanistan, Kashmir, and then into India. Believe it or not, he took the long way. That's considered the long way. And then so he stayed there for I think it's like almost 20 years, a long time. He learned Sanskrit that time. I don't know if it's called Sanskrit, I forgot. But anyway, he learned the local
Hindi
language. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, I don't know. Because Sanskrit is considered the mother language of a whole bunch of different languages. You know that? Like Hindi, Urdu, and a whole bunch. Anyway, so then he compiled and he did a lot of translation. Then he left. He took all his those times they don't have books. They use scroll. What got that? Those bamboo, wood or bamboo rolls, or they call them scrolls or something. I forgot what they call it. Yeah, I forgot. Facsimiles. I forgot. Anyway, and he journeyed back to the Tang Emperor's court, and then they established a huge library and all that stuff. Oh, there's so many. But now, before him, there were other Buddhist monks from India, well, what we call present-day India. A lot of them, like some from Afghanistan, Kashmir, present-day Pakistan, or present-day Bangladesh. I mean, all over, or Sri Lanka. A lot of them, there are a lot of individual, you can say, quote-unquote, some patriarchs or Buddhist monks, real Buddhist monks, that left India and went to China and brought with them, Sanskrit, I guess it's Sanskrit, scrolls, and did help translate too. Before this monk, Xuanzang or whatever his name is. So that's why during Bodhidharma's time, there were already, scriptures, in a Buddhist sutras, like Diamond Sutra, already translated into Chinese. Get it? Okay. So and we're talking about, roughly before Bodhidharma, roughly, almost during the time of Jesus Christ, roughly at that time, almost 500 years later, after Buddha's parinirvana, already Buddhism's already in China. Make sense? A lot of history.
Yeah, it is.
That's good stuff.
So in a lot
the
of,
Diamond Sutra, they mention Suhuti a lot.
Yeah, because Subhuti was the questioner. Was the one who asked Buddha about those two questions. Remember those two questions? What the two questions?
Yeah, I remember.
It's in the first chapter.
Yeah, it's in the first chapter.
Oh, second chapter. Yeah, first chapter. Anyway,
The vehicle
or
of thought.
second chapter. I think it's the second chapter. But anyway, it doesn't matter. So no, he asked, and so therefore Buddha, realized Subhuti was enlightened at that point. You know that? That's cool, huh? That's cool. Huh? He just witnessed, Buddha's coming and going. That's all he did. Buddha didn't say a word. Remember? And so he became enlightened. Jesus, we're so bad, right? We're so hopeless, I guess. Anyway, but so he asked two questions, right? And Buddha said, what? Excellent, excellent, twice. He didn't say excellent once. See, you have to understand, enlightened beings like Buddhas didn't like to talk a lot. like Lao Tzu. I mean, he wrote the book of virtue and Tao and Virtue, 5,000 words, and that's the quintessence of the Tao. Quintessence. You can say the Jinhua, right? The Jinhua. Doesn't matter. Yeah, the quintessence. The what's quintessence? The cream of the cream, or whatever. Well, it doesn't matter. The essence, yeah, whatever. Yeah, it's essence. They call it quintessence. Literally means fifth essence. That's what it means. Yeah. That in Greek. Okay. Anyway, because after the four, 四大. Anybody know what the 四大 is?
Elements.
Yeah, the four elements. So they say there's a fifth element, i.e., quintessence, that is above those four. Get it? So that's what it means. Hey, that's a little language. Yeah, they used to say that that's ether. Yeah. But anyway, and everybody know the four essences are, or 四大, right? Earth, wind, fire, and air, or something like that, right? Oh, water. Yeah, something. Yeah. Because they're opposites. Earth and air. Earth and air, or earth and wind, and then fire and water, something like that. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Okay, so.
四大, do you mean the 水火风土?
Yeah. That's the 四大. Four constituent elements of something: earth, water, fire, and air, or wind. Yeah. Which represents energy, motion. It's just heat, motion, liquid, and solid. Okay. Then they say there's a fifth element. That's invisible. That's beyond that created all these four. So that's what they call it. That's what they. This is Greek. Okay, this is Greek. According to Greek, that's why they say quint. Quint means five, right? Or is it Latin? Anyway, it doesn't matter. Quint. I think quint is Latin. Yeah, quint is Latin. Essence, quintessence. Get it? That's the morphology. But anyway, now we use quintessence as to mean that the essence of the essence, the cream of the crop. I mean, the cream of the cream. Get it? Okay. So anyway, so the Diamond Sutra came much later. It's during the Mahaprajna period. Those 22 years that Buddha was talking about, right? So that's pretty advanced. That time, Mahakasyapa was not enlightened yet. He came later. You know that Mahakasyapa? Yeah, Mahakasyapa came later. That time it was about towards the second half time of Buddha's, you can say sermon teaching. You get it? Remember I said 49, 50 years, right? Remember? It's the second half. It's already the second half, roughly. Okay, roughly. Okay, and he taught supposedly the Mahaprajna Paramita Sutras over 16? I forgot. Over a few, maybe a dozen assemblies. That's called what we call Dharma classes now. But those Dharma classes vary in length. It could be months or even years. Hello. So anyway, so that's why he spoke mostly about those in those 22 years about Mahaprajna Paramita, which is really about, you can say, the central theme of the teachings of all those sutras during that 22-year period is roughly about emptiness, Zen Kong, true emptiness. Okay, so that's why they say the wisdom, he called it the Mahaprajna Paramita, which means to go to the other shore, right? That's what it means. But it also means wisdom. The wisdom is that you have to have that wisdom to understand about the emptiness. Get it? And so Subhuti, among his 10 disciples, I mean the list is different. Yeah, 10 great disciples. he is the one who's foremost in understanding. No, not wisdom. That's Sariputra.
Oh,
Sariputra. That's why there is the Heart Sutra, right, with him. And then he's the one who understood what
Emptiness.
foremost. Yes, good, emptiness. That's why if you read the Diamond Sutra, the central thread, theme. So you guys gotta understand this when you read sutras, okay? Central theme or element or common denominator, whatever you want to call it, is about emptiness. Get it? Now you guys understand a little bit. so when you so when people like I hear a lot of Americans, especially Americans when I was in Cleveland, West, they say, "Oh, I love the Diamond Sutra. It's so simple, so short. It is relatively 31 short chapters, whatever." I said, yeah, I like wonder. It's like, do you really understand what emptiness means? They have no clue because they just read the words. Okay, so that's not the four reliances. Okay, the four reliances is not dependent on the words. It's on the meaning, the deep meaning, the true meaning. Maybe that's a better term. The essence, okay, of what the words mean. Okay, so actually, Diamond Sutra is one of the most difficult to understand because Diamond Sutra. Don't forget who was the disciple that asked Buddha, right? It was Shibuti, and Shibuti at that time, he was one of the eldest, if not the eldest or most senior disciple by age, okay, among his sangha at that time, okay. He was the one who understood emptiness the most, which is you can say almost the highest level at that time. And when Buddha responded, to in his dialogue, right, as part of the Diamond Sutra to Subhuti, Buddha's answer, is all dealt about emptiness. That's why it's not easy to understand. And so if you read the surface, if you just read it, it's like, it sounds nice. It's just like people reading the Tao Te Ching, saying, yeah, it sounds nice, but they don't understand the real meaning. So it's really that's why I don't recommend people reading the Diamond Sutra first, if they don't know nothing, because you could go down the wrong path. Because you're just looking at the words. You really have to have an understanding of you can say Buddha nature of Buddha's you can say Buddha's view of time. You have to understand. Like yesterday we talked about last week we talked about Tao and religion. Right? So we say emptiness and existence. So 真空妙有. It's really the two are at one, oneness. You get it? So a lot of times when people read Diamond Sutra, they go to the extreme. They just say, everything's empty. Everything's nothing. Wrong. That's wrong. That's what Hui Neng initially said in his response. Everything's empty. Yeah, there's no it's partially true, but it's partially true. Get it? It's not empty. It is empty in the sense that no forms, no phenomena is permanent, okay? But simultaneously, concomitantly, from this emptiness, you also have phenomena. That's the odd thing. That's the hard thing to get around it. On the one hand, we say, everything's empty because it's not permanent. But yet, there's still always going to be phenomena, huh? So that's what we mean by oneness. Get it? So that's what Buddha in the Diamond Sutra is talking about, that oneness. So if you don't understand it, you just look at the surface meaning, you say, everything's empty. And you go to one extreme. Get it? Understand? Okay.
Okay, just taking from what Kaya was talking about. This is one encounter that the Bodhidharma had in China. In the time that Emperor Wu, he was building a whole lot of temples, a whole lot of statues of Buddhists. So he invited Bodhidharma for a conversation, I guess, talk. And the emperor is trying to say, I built all these things going on in China to represent his, I guess, good faith.
Yeah, that he's devout.
He's devout.
He's a devout Buddhist follower or whatever.
Right.
But
So
actually, he's following the forms.
So he asked his Bodhidharma, I did all this, where are my
merits.
merits? Right. You know, he's
What
curious
did
to know
Bodhidharma
where
say?
he is, like in the rankings of all this his good deeds. And Bodhidharma just answered,
You got none.
because you are thinking of what you are giving. You know, you are.
So that's why I type your way. That's the condition. Condition. Get it? You have an ulterior motive. So that's why in Lao Tzu we say wu wei. No, that's the real essence, the oneness. It's you have no condition. Get it? Because you're absolute. There's non-condition. Just so. Just is. You just do it. That's the way it is.
But he just honestly told him, there's no merit to you getting because you are doing the motive. The emperor did not like the answer.
Yeah, no kidding. He has an ego. That's why.
Right. So he's like questioning, so who are you, basically? You know, what are you talking about? You know? So Bodhidharma answers, there's no noble truth, there's only emptiness.
Yeah. See?
You know. Then who's standing in front of me?
Yeah, yeah.
You
People
know.
don't understand. See, we go to dialectic. That's the problem.
So he's like, Bodhidharma is like, don't know who I am. In a way. So later on, I think the Emperor Wu was really upset.
Yeah.
He set an order to kill
Bodhidharma.
Bodhidharma.
Well, then he was going to commit the 5 cardinal sins.
But Bodhidharma already knew that
Right.
he was not going to be killed by him. He already knew that he's going to go back to
What?
to India to pass.
India, or-
Right. So one of the passages I was reading about him, it was the 9 years of wall gazing.
Yeah, supposedly. Yeah.
He's
yeah.
supposed to,
He's staring at a wall for like several years without talking. Right?
but no talking, not eating, not anything. But you have to understand that once you reach enlightenment, become an enlightened being, if
can
you're
do all
able to
that.
meditate,
Yeah.
once you meditate, 1 year or 1 day to them doesn't mean 1 year or 1 day.
Yeah, it means like a second
Right.
or an instant. Yeah.
Time space continuum doesn't mean
It
anything.
no longer applies.
Right, it wasn't
He
meditation.
transcends it.
So this is another thing that I saw, that the wall gazing and the passage that the movie I saw, not the movie, where he it was younger prince, where he saw his own image, telling him, you can take the path to become a great warrior, or you can take the path to become a monk and become a lot of great things. So that's where he saw himself, basically telling him he had to become a monk because this is the right path you have to take. So that's why, if you become that level of being, you're able to go to the past, see the future, I guess, and know what's going on at the same time. 9 years to him maybe was just like a few seconds, Another passage because he was falling asleep when he was gazing the wall, his eyebrows grows on the floor. He cut it off, the eyebrows, because it was bothering him. Once the eyebrows reached the ground, a tea plant, just sprung like open.
Like a lot of miracles. Miraculous thing.
And at the same time, there was I guess there was his student or followers were there. They were falling asleep as well. So they used that plant to make a tea to drink to stay awake. That was another thing. Passage. There's a lot of
A lot
them.
of stories.
There's a lot of stories.
Well, it's not eyelids.
Eyelids.
Eyebrows.
Yeah, his
His eyelids.
eyebrow. Yeah, not his eyelid.
Sorry, I will correct it. Okay. And there's I think it's in China. They do have a cave, and there's a shadow of a person in the cave. They believe that was him
That's another.
staring the wall for 9 years.
Well, the reason why he's hit the Fred was because, like you said, Emperor Wu
Mhm.
was about to assassinate. He also, that time, remember you mentioned the story of Hui Ke, right? That time, Hui Ke, who was the prominent Chinese Buddhist, you can say Buddhist master. He was. Yeah, he was a master. I mean, he knows the Diamond Secret inside out. Okay, okay. But that time he was not ready yet. Hui Ke was not ready to understand or to become enlightened yet. So that's why he was biding his time. And then Hui Ke did eventually got turned around. That's another story too. That after he supposedly shed the blood of Bodhidharma, right? That supposedly the story goes, right? That devil came or whatever in a dream. This is a dream, supposedly, right? Say, hey, your time is coming up. We're gonna take you down to the underworld. He says, how can that be? I read all the Buddha scriptures. I'm a master. How can I end up in the underworld? You know. So then that's the story. And then supposedly then the devil told him, well, you need to get that 1-point transmission from an enlightened master, or enlightened master means one with the heavenly mandate. And he goes, well, who's that? And then he said, the person that you just slandered was the one. He goes, really? That ugly looking monk? So then that's when he awoke. He awoke. Well, no, it was a dream. Supposedly it was a dream. Then he woke up and he was like having a cold sweat. He realized that if he memorized the Buddha, he meditated. It's all useless. I mean, in terms of not useless. In terms of he cannot still transcend samsara. Make sense? So that's a religion. That's what religions are. Okay. So then he went to seek a Bodhidharma. But then it was snow. It was winter supposedly, and he waited outside Bodhidharma's monastery, right? Well, where he was staying. And Bodhidharma did not, supposedly the little monks told Bodhidharma, oh, you have a senior monk, wanting to see you, but so he ignored him for, I don't know, 3 times, several times, I forgot, a few days, okay? So then when he finally showed, that's when the story of when, he cut off, when he asked Bodhidharma, what is the secret of, of enlightenment or whatever? And Bodhidharma said, you should get rid of the unorthodoxy or something like that. 左旁门 or 左, something like that in Chinese. So he misunderstood. See, once again, form. You're so fixated on form, because you're still using your mind. That's the key. You're not using your Buddha nature. Well, that means you're not enlightened anyway. But that's not. So he immediately took his sword and cut off his left arm or something like that.
Because I guess the word, it sounds the same as
左旁, the left shoulder or whatever. That's what it means. Yeah, left arm. But that's not what Bodhidharma meant. Bodhidharma says it's a middle path. There's a middle path. Get it? So you guys what I'm saying. So there's a middle path. And it's the oneness. It's really oneness if you really want to go to the highest level. That's the oneness. He didn't understand, so he cut, and so Bodhidharma immediately put the robe around to stop the bleeding, right? And that began the tradition of why, in China at least, not so much in India. Even though India, they have something similar, but they drape their robes only on their leg. They leave their right shoulder bare, right? Something like that. Something like that, right? Right? But in India, I think they already leave the right shoulder bare because that's a sign of respect to when they're addressing Buddha. Shibuti said that. It did that in the Dharma Sutra. Yeah, he got up, stood up, knelt before Buddha, and I think bared his right shoulder or something. I forgot. Something like that. Some story says that, but anyway, it doesn't matter. Hey, a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Yes.
No time is against us, but I have one quick question. What was the purpose or the reason for staring at the wall for 9 years? What did he hope to achieve?
Remember, the Buddhist monks, they meditate. Oh, so that's one form for him to meditate. He was trying to meditate. Just look at the wall.
Well, yeah, because that time, don't forget, the emperor got mad, right? And so he was going to persecute. He basically flipped. Originally he was very, very supportive. Wholeheartedly, supportive of the Buddhist religion or Buddhist teachings. Then because of that word, with his conversation with Bodhidharma saying that he had no merit, that he's good for nothing, he got really angry. See, so that's the danger of us humans. We should understand that if we do things according to our passion, right? The Emperor Wu was passionate, which is not from his Buddha nature. You get it? Then it's very susceptible to you going from one extreme to the next. Make sense? Make sense? So yeah, because you felt insulted. My God, if that's what it is, then you just flip, right? And that's not real Tao. That's not the Tao. That's not what Buddha taught. Okay? So that's why. All right? So that's why religion is like that. Religion is like that. That's why you have so many chaos, especially in the Middle East. Between 2 major religions. Hello? right? An eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth.
Yo, that's coming from World War II, and I'm trying to.
No, but what I'm trying to say is that, right? So we gotta be careful, okay? So that's why, what did Bodhidharma do, right? He's not an emperor. He doesn't have any power. He's in a strange land. I mean, he's in a foreign land. So the next best thing is, but he knows the future. But see, he's an enlightened being. As I forgot who Bodhidharma was, a reincarnation of another Buddha or something. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Or Bodhisattva. Anyway, so he just decided to meditate. Get it? That's the only thing. Be still for the time to mature, and eventually Hui Ke came along.
Right.
But how did he die?
The different stories.
There's different stories.
Yeah.
One was he died when meditating in the cave. Another one, he died back in India. But anyway, a few points that I need to point out. Lakavatara Sutra is the source of the Platform Sutra, the Buddha nature. So that's where it comes from. So I'm going to skip that in detail. Shaolin Temple, martial arts, Bodhidharma, he saw the physique in the temple was people were like getting lazy and fat. So he taught them exercises, basically the martial arts exercise.
But they couldn't concentrate probably
Right.
because maybe their minds are not yet, or their physique is not, because let's face it, they're supposed to only eat once a day. Okay, so therefore, they lack either the energy or something to continue to meditate or practice all day. So he said, hey, I'll teach you some exercises to help you become more, just as vigilant, maintain your, right, your awareness, alertness. So he taught them supposedly those exercises. Originally, this was exercise.
What's exercise?
Exercise, form of exercise. You know what I'm saying? And he based his exercises on what? Animal world, the movements, the motions. Yeah, seriously. So that's why they have the white crane, the praying mantis, God knows what. Yeah, the tiger, the whatever. I don't know, whatever, monkey, whatever. No, seriously. Supposedly, that's why in Shaolin martial arts they have those different branches. You know that? There's the white crane form. There's the, I don't know. Maybe even Drunken Master. I don't know. No, that's Jackie Chan. Drunken Master. You guys saw that movie? It's funny. Anyway, but anyway.
So because he could not stay there in Shaolin Temple forever, he I guess he draw the scripture, the movements and everything.
Yeah.
And he left at the temple and he went back to India and passed away and died. I think that's one of the passage away. So I don't know if we have time for the video. I can show it's 5 minutes, or we can take a break.
About what? Bodhidharma?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Show it.
Monday.com is a team management tool that changed my life, because my day used to be wasted on a marketing meeting, carefully remind.
Bodhidharma was a Buddhist monk who lived during the 5th or 6th century CE. He is traditionally credited as the transmitter of Chan Buddhism to China, and regarded as its first Chinese patriarch. According to Chinese legend, he also began the physical training of the monks of Shaolin Monastery that led to the creation of Shaolin Kung Fu. Little contemporary biographical information on Bodhidharma is extant, and subsequent accounts became layered with legend. The principal Chinese sources vary on their account of Bodhidharma's origins, giving either an origin from India or from the Greco-Buddhist traditions of Iranian language-speaking Central Asian kingdoms. Throughout Buddhist art, Bodhidharma is depicted as an ill-tempered, profusely bearded, wide-eyed non-Chinese person. He is referred as the blue-eyed barbarian in Chan texts. Aside from the Chinese accounts, several popular traditions also exist regarding Bodhidharma's origins. The accounts also differ on the date of his arrival, with one early account claiming that he arrived during the Lusong dynasty, 420 to 479, and later accounts dating his arrival to the Yang dynasty. Bodhidharma was primarily active in the territory of the Northern Wei, 386 to 534. Modern scholarship dates him to about the early 5th century. Bodhidharma's teachings and practice centered on meditation and the law. Kavatara Sutra. The anthology of the Patriarchal Hall identifies Bodhidharma as the 28th patriarch of Buddhism in an uninterrupted line that extends all the way back to the Gautama Buddha himself. The earliest text mentioning Bodhidharma is the record of the Buddhist monasteries of Lung, which was compiled in 547 by Yang Zhuangzi, a writer and translator of Mahayana Sutras into Chinese. Yang gave the following account. At that time there was a monk of the western region named Bodhidharma, a Persian Central Asian. He traveled from the wild borderlands to China. Seeing the golden discs on the pole on top of Yawning Stupa reflecting in the sun, the rays of light illuminating the surface of the clouds, the jewel bells on the stupa blowing in the wind, the echoes reverberating beyond the heavens, he sang its praises. He exclaimed, "Truly this is the work of spirits." He said, "I am 150 years old, and I have passed through numerous countries." According to Southeast Asian folklore, Bodhidharma traveled from Jambudvipa by sea to Palembang, Indonesia. Passing through Sumatra, Java, Bali, and Malaysia, he eventually entered China through Nanyu. In his travels through the region, Bodhidharma is said to have transmitted his knowledge of the Mahayana doctrine and the martial arts. Malaya legend holds that he introduced forms to Silat. Vajrayana tradition links Bodhidharma with the 11th century Dravidian monk Fadampa Sanji, who traveled extensively to Tibet and China spreading tantric teachings. 3 years after Bodhidharma's death, Ambassador Songyan of Northern Wei is said to have seen him walking while holding a shoe at the Pamir Heights. Songyan asked Bodhidharma where he was going, to which Bodhidharma replied, "I am going home." When asked why he was holding his shoe, Bodhidharma answered, "You will know when you reach Shaolin Monastery. Don't mention that you saw me or you will meet with disaster." After arriving at the palace, Songyan told the emperor that he met Bodhidharma on the way. The emperor said Bodhidharma was already dead and buried and had Songyan arrested for lying. At Shaolin Monastery, the monks informed them that Bodhidharma was dead and had been buried in a hill behind the temple. The grave was exhumed and was found to contain a single shoe.
Yeah, that's one story.
Thank you. Given this opportunity, if I spoke anything wrong, please correct. Thanks everyone.